Australia's going to ban under 16s from using social media, and I think it could be a good move. I'm not sure. Hear me out. Originally, I thought it was a bad idea, and now I think it's a good idea, but I'm just going to put my thoughts out here and see what other people think. So I think the best frame to look this through is what is the cost and what is the reward. And I think the costs are pretty clear. Under 16s don't really get to use social media, and that costs them, makes it more difficult to communicate with friends, makes it more difficult to gather information because a lot of information is on social media nowadays. But I think the big one is that it denies or removes their ability to become politically involved. And then what are the benefits? So those under 16 will develop their social skills much more proficiently than if they had access to social media. They'll almost definitely spend more time outside and be more physically active, which we know is huge for reducing obesity and sort of chronic illness later in life. If you're healthy when you're younger, it's much easier to be healthy when you're older. But if you're unhealthy when you're a little kid, it's far more likely that you'll be unhealthy when you're older. And in terms of quality of life, I think generally speaking, you'd have a higher quality of life if you're 12 years old and you're not really been exposed to social media growing up. Basically, they're just avoiding brain rot. So I think when it comes to the cost, and you ask yourself, under 16s being super politically involved, yes, sort of for some climate action stuff, but you know what I mean? I feel like it does more good than it does harm. If a couple of thousand 16-year-olds don't really organize a climate protest rally, is it really going to change the course of history that much? Probably not. But if a couple million Australians grow up without social media to the age of 16, they're going to have far better social skills, better health, all that stuff I mentioned before. And that, I think, could really shape a nation. But look, I'm not saying I'm right. I would be curious to know what other people's thoughts are. And also don't like the fact that it's a ban. I'd rather it be like a promotion of kids going outside and not using social media rather than, no, you can't.